Check 1, 2.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That looks good.
Do not ever question me again.
Don't question my authority. You deliberately disobeyed me.
Welcome to The Crunch, the only podcast where one of the hosts is way more competent than the other one.
Thank you.
It's your boy, Ethan.
And I'm Patrick, and I'm the competent one. I'm actually going to take the sleeve off of my cup because it's cold in here.
We'll let him have it.
Let me have it. Let me have this. I need this win. Hey, guys, we're in a studio today. That's crazy.
What is this podcast?
Oh, this is The Crunch. It's a comedy podcast where
Yep.
we try to figure out if Catholics can be funny, and we did it.
We did an Instagram live but moments ago, and I
Mhm.
realized sometimes when I'm not with the people
Yeah.
engaging with hoi polloi, the unwashed
I
masses,
can't believe you're speaking Yiddish on our Christian podcast.
as they've been called, I forget that we're just built different. Why are you laughing?
It's just funny to say that.
What do you mean?
It's just funny to be like, yeah, we're built different.
But-
Like that's.
But dare I say, we are. Have you considered that?
Yeah, I think.
Have you considered that we're maybe better than everyone?
I don't
else?
think people listen to this show because they think that we're
the same as everyone.
the same
else?
as everyone. They would just go
Maybe
outside.
I do microphone like this,
Microphone
like
up
in Conan O'Brien.
Go Nan.
Conan.
Now it looks like we're. Now it looks like we're.
Now it looks like we're sucking from the teat of big audio.
This is actually see the thing is the podcast is stored in the microphones
Yeah.
and we suck it out
Yeah,
using our
we extract it with our
they're like a little baby.
yes, and with your Patreon dollars, we can keep those lips moist
Yep.
and our
Keep
glands
them
firing.
keep the milk flowing.
We got to keep the milk flowing. The audio milk.
Welcome to the Mammary Cast.
Nice.
Should have screamed that.
We're in a public place.
as we determined that these walls are so thin.
We are in a.
Which is
I know.
not-
Should we do in a big
Should we
quiet?
do a whisper
Little-
cast?
little-
Welcome to That's the worst.
I know.
We just
it's-
lost a bunch of listeners.
No, they're all still here.
Mm-mm.
Ack, ack. All right.
Yo, so I met Peter. I met Ethan's.
You met him
son. Well, I
before.
did, but now he's like kind of in his own. You know,
Yeah. Before he was spaced out of his
he was
mind.
he was absolutely
he was high as a kite.
he was milk drunk.
He was
24 hours.
He was
of the
also
day.
just fussing.
He
and
was sad, dude.
crying and suspicious
just-
of everybody.
Yeah, he was like
It was
mad.
fun. Was it cool to hang out with him?
Yeah, he's great. He's so personable, and he's like at first he was looking at me the whole time,
Stunned.
but he wasn't.
He does that to every new person he meets. He's just like, he scans you like the robot in Terminator.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
like you can see in behind his eyes the matrix numbers flashing
yeah.
up and down.
Oh yeah,
And he like analyzes you, and he does it to everybody. He'll like
Really?
look up and down, stare.
Yeah.
Ah.
Eh.
And then like once you pass the scan,
he's like,
he
yeah.
leans in, but he does it to every single person.
I passed
you
the
passed the
scan.
scan.
I passed the scan with Peter. I passed the scan with Boone,
the
Ray's dog. Yeah. I was sitting with Peter, and Boone came up, and Ray was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
Boone is gonna start barking at Patrick,
Oof.
and then Peter's gonna get scared that this
Right.
massive
which
dog-"
has happened before.
Mhm.
Yes.
and he was fine.
No. Yeah.
And Ray was like, you must radiate a good aura. And I was like, well, that's
She
didn't say
She
that.
said that.
no,
She doesn't seem like the type of person that's a vibes based.
no. Ray was like, oh, your chroma key is so yellow. You've got a yellow
Chroma key.
chroma key.
What is chroma key?
I think it's a type of ape.
Oh man, it's rare that you're that funny. That was really good.
Fiddling with the mic and like doing a one-off was a pretty solid.
That's nice.
I usually have to be locked in and focused on a joke. Like, Ethan, guess what?
Yeah.
I thought of a really good one.
Right.
What if you had to ask Alexa to play that song?
Uh-huh.
What if you had to say it?
Right.
Gotta go find.
But the thing is you're funnier when you're doing the one off. When you just have to, like when I can tell that you've thought about a joke, I'm like primed. I'm like,
Oh.
all right, how can I play the straight man to
Yeah,
Patrick's
yeah,
funny
yeah,
right
yeah.
here? But then when you hit me with the you catch me
name.
so off guard. It's so funny. It's like when my wife swears.
Ooh, does she swear?
On occasion.
You swear a lot in front of Emma. I was impressed.
Yeah. She doesn't mind.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like it's not
I guess she was a nurse.
she was a nurse.
And
she's also like an
nurses
adult woman.
Swear.
You know?
Yeah.
Like she understands that like especially when we were quoting like comedy bits,
Mhm.
it's like it's funny because they're swearing in it. Like she gets that.
Yeah.
You know? Like the Bill Burr joke about where to put the swear word when you're talking about a certain race of people
That's
is
really
only funny if you like say the swear word, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just say frickin' because it's not the same. You know?
Yeah.
And so
I
like
disagree. I think you can swing it.
if you're Bill Burr,
I try to swear as little as possible.
really?
Yeah.
I don't have a filter on it.
Mm.
It used to be like a really big thing for me where I went like 2 years without swearing.
Mm.
And it's like, it like doesn't matter.
I was the same way with sex jokes. Like in
I thought
high
you were gonna say
school.
sex.
Yeah, I went 2 years without sex.
That's crazy.
Isn't your kid a year and a half old? Yep. Wait.
That-
It was artificial. We just manifested him with our brains.
It was artificial.
It was artificial. Leo.
My
We
son.
grew him like meat in a lab.
I grew him like beyond me.
Yeah.
I use it. My son, if you check on his butt, it has a little the brand of the 3D printer that we used right on there.
It'd be so funny to put a little like a
You can
clear,
actually find Leo's mold on
a clear sticker.
on Redbubble. I
Yeah,
sell his
I
mold.
sell his mold. You
So
can
if
get
you-
you too can get a little guy with big old cheeks, have big old hands
cheekums.
that he used to smack people.
Big smack.
Yeah, it'd be really funny if like one day I got a now you can't wear that shirt tonight.
I know. Well,
Bummer.
I wasn't gonna wear this shirt tonight. I was gonna wear my bowling shirt
Yeah.
to let everyone know.
Should I wear my Birkenstocks?
No, no, you shouldn't.
What I should do is I should get one of those like clear, those stickers that don't have paper on the back; they just have plastic on the back. You see through them. So it's just a sticker. I should get
Like
one
a
of those.
PNG.
Yeah, it's like a vector file, but it's
Yeah.
real.
That's a sticker.
I should get one that's a barcode, and I should just stick it on Leo's butt for the next time Phoebe gives him a diaper change. And then she's like, "Why is there a barcode on Leo's butt?" That'd just be a funny thing to find on your baby's butt.
Yeah,
I'm like, maybe he was replaced.
honey, I've begun to sell our boy.
Maybe our boy was like, look, I lost the original Leo and I went to Costco and I got a new one.
Imagine you go all the way through and the barcode you scan it with your iPhone and it goes to an Amazon page.
Yeah.
And it's just a custom Amazon page that just says cutest boy.
One time
time.
Father Paul on Twitter, he went to pretty extreme lengths to get me once.
What do you mean?
So he
Purchase you like an oxen?
So I was making it was when we
He was gonna make you his cow.
it was
boy.
when we were dunking on Matthew Kelly.
Okay.
One of the many times.
Easy pastime.
We were talking about Matthew Kelly.
Yeah.
And he pretended
Mm-hmm.
to be Matthew Kelly. So he used his domain to set up Matthew Kelly at whatever.com.
I remember that.
And then he had like a domain he wasn't using, and he set an email at that domain. And then he made the domain link to his tweet.
The domain was germane.
The domain was germane, and he linked it to the tweet conversation we had about Matthew Kelly. But Matthew Kelly was like, the email was like, retract your statements or I'll get lawyers involved. It was it was really funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just a really silly thing.
It's a dumb thing to say if you actually have a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. And
just have the lawyer write the letter.
But my reaction was like, oh no, this is going to be a whole thing because like you don't want to make a powerful enemy.
You get scared. Well,
maybe
you do.
But apparently, it worked a little bit for us.
I mean, Donald Trump had some pretty powerful enemies.
That's true.
Look at where he is now.
In jail. Is he in jail?
No, he was speaking in California, but yesterday.
Oh.
About how he's going to bring more water when he's president.
That's such a fun.
This clip of him speaking to the Republican Party in California, and he's like,
"They're gonna bring more water.
When I get into office, you've got these canals; they're so dry.
We're gonna dampen the forest.
They tell me they got a lot of water up north." Oh, he said that they were going to immigrate not only the canals but your homes and bathrooms as well. It's like
irrigate, not immigrate.
Irrigate. That's what it was. What did I say?
Immigrate.
Well, I got a lot of things on my mind. So,
but it was so funny to hear because it's like that's what pagan kings did.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll make sure we have rain.
The
this
rain will
season.
come.
Or the rain wouldn't come, and the general would lead a revolt to kill the king, so the rain could come.
It's also crazy that he said, they tell me that there's a lot of water
They
up
tell
north."
me there's a lot of water up there.
Where?
Who?
Which water?
It's lush.
It is
Northern
lush.
California. It's lush.
Yeah. A lot of water up north.
A lot of water up north.
What
In the glaciers, etc.
was the other thing that he said that I
We could
showed you?
desalinate some of the ocean.
It was the water, and then it was the other video that I showed you from that.
He
that
was
clip. He was talking about
the forest fires.
No, not the
No.
forest fires. That was a part of the water. It
Oh,
was,
yeah.
The fighter jet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They tell me it's environmentally friendly. I say you're killing, you're dropping bombs everywhere. Who cares if it's environmentally friendly?
So, Mr. President, we've got this environmentally friendly jet. Who cares? You're bombing people. It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true. You're
It's
bombing
true.
people. It's true.
Man,
Okay. Anyway,
he's not gonna be president again.
He will be.
He's not gonna be president again.
Why
but
not?
It's so
Who is going to beat him?
I don't know.
Exactly.
But it's not gonna be him.
But who is going to
He's
beat
not.
him?
He
You can't name one. Gavin Newsom, Joe.
Joe. I don't know. Maybe
They can't. Joe can't win again.
they can run Joe again.
They can run Joe again,
No
but they're
one's
going to
paying
run
attention.
him into the ground.
Poor guy. He's the only president you could punch assassinate.
God rest his soul, Joe Biden.
Poor guy.
I know.
He's like the guy from Men in Black. His skin is just hanging on.
Sugar water. That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
We were talking about Trump. Before we were talking about Trump, we were talking about something else.
We were talking about. I don't remember.
Oh man,
I know it sucks.
we lost.
Yeah, we did.
We went on the Trump.
We may have been talking about the podcast. We've been. Today has been proof that it was good that I didn't move here
Why?
for another job. We have been hanging out.
Yeah.
Since 8:00 in the morning. It is
Yeah.
now 11:20.
Yeah.
We have recorded one podcast,
Yeah.
which was part of our job.
Yeah.
We kind of meandered for a bit. We took a walk.
I
That was
had to go
important.
do something for work.
We had to do that for work. That was
Yeah.
important. Then we did a hour-long Instagram live unscheduled.
where we answered good questions.
We did. It
from-
was good.
Well, we were talking about how we're better than the people on Instagram.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then now we're finally doing the main show,
Yeah.
which if we've just been crunching for. This is the thing is we would just create content nonstop.
Yes, and we would get massively wealthy.
Maybe.
Why? So now you're in the hot seat.
Now I'm in.
Why
the-
didn't you move here?
I didn't move here because
The people have been. Everyone. I get 12 DMs a day that
uh-huh.
say, "Why don't you and Patrick live next to each other?"
Why don't you and Patrick
have to say-
share a swimming pool?
I say, "I don't know.
I don't know.
No, he's never told me.
We could do an Olympic-sized swimming pool in the backyard,
Why does it need to be Olympic sized?
so we can practice for the Olympics.
I don't think either of us are gonna make it.
Don't say that. That's not with that attitude.
You
You got to set your goals high.
I'm simply not long enough to be an Olympic swimmer.
It's
Even
not
if-
fair.
Even if I was as fast as the other swimmers, if a dude is 6'5", he's just
He's
outreaching
longer.
me
He's
to
longer.
the wall.
Yeah.
They don't talk about that enough. If you had a guy, how long's an Olympic pool?
I think it's 50 meters across.
If you had a 50-meter long guy, he would win because you got to go
Pushes
down and back.
forth. 50 meters is 50 yards. It's half a
No,
football field.
no, they're not the same.
They're about the same.
Hmm. Why don't they have the same name then?
Siri, how long is a meter in yards? Yeah, a meter is about 1.09 yards.
1.09.
Siri,
yards.
who was in? I'm just kidding.
The longest yard?
Who was in the longest mile?
The longest mile.
Yeah.
Longmire.
Who was in the green mile?
The Green Mile. Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And I forget the other guy's name. But anyway, so we were live on Instagram.
We were. It was fun.
This-
You were there. It's still recorded. It was
Still
it was
recorded.
exactly an hour long.
Really?
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was
What-
fun.
What are we doing?
And we consistently kept 20 live streams. We should do Twitch again.
I can't handle this.
I know.
I can't handle you swooping in here
What?
and enticing me.
Eating your sandwiches.
Eating my sandwiches. It's like when you come to town,
Mhm.
it's like when a girl that
2 times I've come to
it's like when a girl that you liked, who you had a fling with over the summer, and she moves away because her dad's in the army,
Sure.
and she comes back to visit,
Mhm.
and you guys have a great time.
Yeah.
And you're like, what could have been?
Yeah.
And then she's like, sorry, my boyfriend lives on a boat in Newport Beach, and and I have to go now, and I'm
Yeah.
happy with him now, but I
Mhm.
love you. And then she kisses you, and she gets on the plane and she leaves.
Wow.
And it's like, that's what I feel like this
That's
is.
a heartbreaker.
Is like, you
That's a
come
good
here
movie.
and you're like, look at all of this wonderful
Mhm.
times that we have together.
Me being here in town is like the movie 500 Days of Summer with
Yes.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Almost
and
exactly.
Zoe Deschanel.
Yes. And we could go to the IKEA,
Yeah.
and we could.
You know, I watched that movie and I didn't know what an IKEA was, and I still did. So I didn't know what an IKEA was
And you still
until I
don't.
was in college.
Really?
And I
What do you mean you
never.
didn't know what an IKEA was? It was very clearly in the movie. It's a furniture store.
It was in the movie, but I guess I didn't notice that it was a furniture store. Or like I didn't, you know,
You didn't notice.
I didn't it just register that that was an IKEA. And there was a big thing when I was a kid. It was like, oh, what if we played hide and seek in IKEA? Like that'd be so fun. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's fine. I just assumed it was like a big store like Walmart.
It is.
It is a big store like Walmart, but they only sell furniture and
Yeah.
meatballs.
I don't understand. How old were you when you watched 500 Days of Summer?
High school.
You couldn't put all that together?
Mm-mm. I just wasn't paying attention, I guess.
Man.
It's possible I was watching the movie in a room full of people, including a girl that I liked, and I was like,
oh, you were having
thinking
your
about her
own
the whole
500
time.
Days of Summer.
Indeed. I
Ah.
was like, this movie is so deep.
Mm.
I wish I was dating.
Yes. I
So-
really like that part where they had sex in the copy room.
I don't remember that part. I don't remember the movie.
It's not very good,
Yeah.
actually. Like, I watched it recently in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the movie that everyone's like likes.
The only thing I remember is that after he falls in love with a girl named Autumn, which is dumb as hell.
It is pretty
That's super stupid. I'm sorry. That's just really dumb. It's too on the nose, you know?
Fall is here.
That's student film level on the nose.
Yeah. That's kind of what the whole thing felt like.
Yeah.
It's sad how many movies there are out there that are basically just like the director or the writer. It's like I hate sad boy movies. You know?
do?
Because Joseph Gordon-Levitt is ultimately the guy.
Joseph Jorgen-Levitt. Joseph Jorgen von Strangle.
Joseph Jorgen. Ultimately, he's a guy who's just like unsuccessful with women. Really.
Yeah.
And like, that's the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It feels like an incomplete story. Like, it feels like he actually doesn't grow at the end.
Sure.
Like, we have no evidence of him growing. Like, he still would get together with Summer if she wanted to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
don't
not
really know.
super important. But we're on Instagram Live, and I thought this was interesting. I made the comment. It's like, I didn't realize how much people think about this stuff. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, like
How
Catholic
often-
stuff.
How often people are just like pondering, like,
Mhm.
did I commit a sin by
Yeah.
not receiving the Eucharist? Like, something that I just would never
Mm-hmm.
consider.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like not torn up about it, but like they think about it enough to have it be the first thing that they say on a live stream, like in the comment box.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
I'm glad we did the live because this is a good topic.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Do you remember like when we were in high school, the big thing, the big the cardinal sin was being, just like a Sunday Catholic.
I
or
thought
a
the cardinal
Sunday
sin was going to a homosexual club in Rome.
Whew, okay. Yeah.
That's
So
okay. No one from the Curia listens.
you don't know. You never know who's listening.
And if they did listen, hey, bring us to
Listen.
Rome. We'll do a live podcast in Rome. We'll fix up your whole thing.
Yeah. We'll conclave instead of
Anyway,
never mind.
the cardinal sin.
The cardinal sin of when we were a kid was like, oh, you don't want to be a Catholic. You don't want to be not a Catholic. You don't want to be a Sunday Catholic.
Sure.
You want to be the person you are on Sunday needs to be the person you are on Saturday.
The person you are at youth group needs to be the person you
Yeah.
are on Friday night.
Mhm.
You know.
And that's great. That's good.
Yes.
Or the people who are like they're Catholic, they're culturally Catholic.
Sure.
You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be culturally Catholic. You don't want Catholicism to just be like a part of your life.
Yeah. You want Catholicism to be, or you want Jesus to be your life.
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a part of that though that's like that's a sin by defect. That's an imperfection by way of defect. There's an imperfection by way of excess of this as well,
Mhm.
where not faith, but Catholicism
Mm.
is everything you do and think and talk about.
Yeah.
Not faith, but Catholicism.
Mhm.
I think that's an imperfection by way of excess.
Indeed. And do you think people online struggle with this?
I think online Catholics, perhaps even many people in our audience, struggle with this.
It's a weird thing because I was thinking about this the other day. that Catholic content, the way that it's structured, is almost entirely designed around the more you know, the better you'll be.
I think that's how it may be perceived. I know that for the
I
most
perceive it
part,
that
I
way.
know for the most part,
That makes it
people
true.
are like, people will say, it's not just about knowledge, it's about a relationship.
But they don't act that way.
No, that's fair.
Like people will say that, but that's just another factoid to believe about the church.
Well, actually, I think that's fine because you can sell knowledge. You can't sell a spiritual life. And I would be
Patreon.com/thecrunch.
like, there are
Let's prove
people,
Patrick wrong.
there are people who sell spiritual direction like it's coaching. And that feels strange.
That is weird to me.
That feels strange.
But it's
almost like when, if you were like, can you imagine charging someone to help them get better? You'd think they would get dependent on your relationship, and you might just therapy, prescribing therapy subtly.
yeah. I didn't get it.
No, like charging for spiritual direction seems like something that would be. I'm not against therapy, by the way. Therapy's fine.
I'm against therapy.
I know you are.
I'm not actually.
You're not against therapy?
No, I think it's a funny thing to say.
It is a funny thing to say. it's funny to be against therapy.
Yeah,
because it's like, why are you against therapy?
It's like you can get in a, like you can talk to yourself for free.
Phoebe's like said this before. It's like, it's all like, you got to find a good therapist. I'm just going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but I know what I want to hear. So like, what's going to be hard for me to find that person? But I do get that BetterHelp commercial that's like, hey, depression, guess what? What? I'm going to therapy tomorrow. Okay. And I'm like, I hate this commercial because I know both of those girls and I hate both those girls.
Both of those girls live inside your head.
Yeah. No. I've met both of those girls that are like super into therapy and like also, it's toxic chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's strange to me when people post things like a picture of their laptop, like about to go to therapy. That's weird to me.
Yeah,
I feel like I strongly believe
Yeah.
that you should not be allowed to go to therapy on the computer.
It's kind of like confession.
Exactly.
I was calling a parish for my job and trying to set up a meeting to talk to Father about the magazine.
Yeah.
About doing a parish magazine.
I really need to talk to Father. It's really important. Over the phone. What did you point at?
No, I was saying, hey, if you want a parish magazine, call me.
Yeah.
But I was setting up a Zoom meeting. I do these over Zoom,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, it's going to be a Zoom meeting. By the way, I was setting it up with the secretary, and something got lost in communication. She thought I was trying to go to confession.
Nice.
With the priest, and she was like, oh, I don't think he can do it over the phone. I was like, oh, that's okay. Like, I usually do it over Zoom. She's like, oh, can he do it over Zoom? I was like, yeah, I do it over Zoom all the time. I like talk to priests all the time over Zoom. It's just a meeting. Yeah. She was like, oh, do you want to go to confession? I was like, oh no. By the way, you can't do that over Zoom. Yeah.
Please never do that.
Don't attempt to do that over Zoom.
Never schedule. Father just looks at his calendar 1 week. It's just confession, location, Zoom.
Oh, poor guy. Anyway, yeah. So that was funny, but yeah, it feels the same way about therapy. You got to read body language, and there's too much that can get miscommunicated. And in a field that is so dependent upon communication and like communicating things effectively,
right?
You would want to make sure that people are like, body language.
Which is why I think the content machine it creates more people like what you were describing than it uncreates.
I got dry skin today.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Do you need some moistening?
No, it's probably just I need to change shirts, so I'm not wearing a dark shirt.
Yeah, you should wear a light shirt.
Yeah.
It's hard. The problem is that no matter how many times you say it's about the relationship, it's not about the information, they're still receiving that in a piece of information.
Yeah.
That like is auto-played.
You're never going to get away with it.
Another piece of information.
You're never going to get away with it. You're never going to get away from it. It's always going to be like this.
It's always going to be like
yes.
This. And so I think but here's the problem that I see. No one is taking the steps except us to
I don't think that's true.
I do think it's true because I think
I don't think we're that unique.
In the Catholic world?
Okay, maybe.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. It's like Father Mike Schmitz doesn't have a Discord.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like there's no like the closest that you can get to someone like wow, Sister Miriam James is like going on a pilgrimage with her,
Yeah.
And so it's like it creates this barrier of separation when we're talking about faith and we're talking about Catholicism, like people just become like Katie McGrady when she was telling her story about how like people would come up in situations where they shouldn't be in like her private life. Like
Yes.
listeners of her show would come up.
Yes.
I'm not going to say the exact story, but like that's because that person is like an information brained Catholic. Like they've listened to Katie so many times on the radio and they've learned so much about Catholicism from her, but then they've also learned so much about her life that they feel entitled and obligated to go be a part of it. And like that's like so close, but it like misses the mark. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it should be leading. You learn this thing and you want to join a community around it.
Yes.
But the only source you have is this
is a voice in a box.
Person.
A voice in a box.
You have to go meet the person.
Yes.
Yeah, like Father Mike was at a conference the year that Bible in a Year was coming out.
Yeah.
No, it was a year after Bible in a Year was coming out. So everyone had gone through Bible in a Year, millions of people, and their lives were changed.
Billions.
And you know how he used to get mobbed at Seek 2018?
Yes.
At this conference, a bunch of old people. He had to be like escorted by like 10 people.
That's awesome.
To and from.
He looked like friggin' Mr. Tipton in Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Yeah.
Where like you can't see him.
The poor guy.
Bodyguards.
The poor guy. And he wants to talk to him.
He does. So the reason that I'm saying all this is because I think there's a like when we're talking about the content, what was that?
It sounded
noise?
like a fart.
It did sound like a fart. There's, gosh, I forgot what I was going to say. I had like a really good like next point after this.
How's it feel?
It feels about the same as it's always felt.
We do this to each other.
We do. It's okay. It's harder to stay on track when I'm with you because we just jump off of like every little thing and like getting to the big ideas is so much more difficult. Katie McGrady, Father Mike Schmitz.
The content brain, spiritual.
No, I don't have it.
You do. You have it in there somewhere.
Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Ryan, just edit this out. Because it was a bigger point about. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, see, I just needed to get you out of my visual field.
And you do that on it's never mind. Sorry. Go ahead.
Looking at you.
Don't go off track again.
Looking at you is like a black hole for my brain.
Aw. You never say things like that to me anymore.
Well, you know, it's hard when you've been in a relationship for so long. I think so I was listening to a podcast. Shane Gillis. I've been showing you some Shane Gillis clips over here. Shane Gillis was on Andrew Schultz's podcast.
Okay.
Andrew Schultz is a comedian. You've probably recognized him. He's got a podcast called Flagrant. And Shane Gillis was on it. And they were talking about Catholicism on it. Which was cool because Shane went to Notre Dame, played football. And so he's got this like...
This understanding of what Catholicism is.
Yes. I think he is Catholic, potentially. I don't know for sure, but he kind of acts like he is. And he like defends it, you know, from other people. So they were talking about like, what's the number one religion? He's like, Catholicism. And they were like, why? He goes, dude, we did it. And that was his argument. It's like, we got there, you know, the Vatican. Like he was just pointing it out. Like, and then he got some things wrong about some other stuff, but it doesn't really matter. But it was interesting because it's the first time that I think I've ever heard someone not in our world speak positively about the Catholic faith. Like ever.
It's bound to happen eventually.
Right. And so, and I don't think it's in small part. I think it is because he's like a huge history buff. So I think he's like,
he gets it.
Like he's learned a lot about history. He understands that there's a deep history behind it. He went to Notre Dame. He's got a lot of cultural influences. So I think he's a unique case. But I also see a lot of people like the fact that Catholicism has become this like Chad right-wing meme is interesting.
It is.
As a tool of evangelization, you know, like posting statues and like pictures of saints and like videos of the Pope as if they were, you know,
hype beasts,
like style videos.
It's funny.
There's something about it that's really funny, but it's also reinforces the idea that like this is a cool and good thing. And it's the whole everything
But just like the knowledge thing, it's superficial.
It is superficial. So I'm wondering, like, is there a way for people like us, people who are like formed, who understand this stuff, like, is it possible to effectively communicate Catholicism through this kind of stuff? Because it feels like if we just write it off as superficial, which is what most people do, then we like will never.
Yeah, well, the superficiality is not unimportant.
I agree.
Superficiality is just, it's part of being a human being. It's like, oh, this is a facade.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily. There's, the liberal, classical liberal, impulse is to be, oh no, this thing is superficial and it's not substantial. Therefore, there is no substance related. Yeah, I don't know. It's,
I just think there's a way that if we mobilize, properly,
sure, if we raise an army,
the cultural conditions for Catholicism to flourish can return.
Yeah, sure.
They can.
Can I?
Yeah, what's up?
On this note,
do you think it shouldn't? Do you think the cultural conditions should not return for Catholicism to flourish? And do you think the internet is not the way to do it? That's my question. Also, why do you hate God?
A priest gave a really good homily.
Yeah.
On this conference that I was at. So I went to a conference for design and
for
excellence.
Work.
I went to a work conference. We had mass.
Boring.
That was great. So we had like a work conference, and it was really funny to go to a conference style thing that was not a Catholic conference.
Yeah.
I've never been to like a secular conference, sales conference before.
Right.
But it was great because it's a Catholic company, so we had mass in the morning. And the priest gave a homily on the first reading. Rare. The first reading was from Zechariah, where the Israelites are returning to the Holy Land, and he was telling returning. And this is relevant because we want to return to the former glory of Catholicism, whatever. And he said, when they rebuilt the second temple, or I guess when they built the second temple, when they rebuilt the temple, it took them years, and when they finished, they wept because it was not as good as the first one. They were torn up because it was not as beautiful as the former one. They were like, this is as good as it's going to get.
That's sad.
I know. You're like, it's never going to get better. And his point was like, God spoke through the prophet Zechariah and said, no, you don't understand. No. You don't understand. This is going to be, I'm going to give you something that's even better than the first temple. I'm going to give you something that not only surpasses this temple. So they were thinking, it's only going to get as good as the second temple. And even if it did, the best it can get is the old temple. And we're never going to get there again. And God was saying, don't focus on this. That's not as good as it's going to get. I have something even better in mind. That's Jesus. And I think similarly, and then he tied that into how Catholics think today. He used the example of people saying, oh, it's never going to get back to where it was in the 1950s. And I chuckled because Catholicism was not.
It was not at its peak in the 1950s.
If it was good in the 1950s, the 1960s would have happened. Anyway.
Yes, right.
And then he said, or whatever other decade or century or period you're thinking of, if only you get back to that. And so Catholics tend to think it's not as good as it was back then. It's never going to get that good again. And God is saying, no, it's going to get even better than you could ever imagine.
Right.
And there's going to be a new thing. We're going to be doing a new thing.
Yes.
It's not about returning. It's not about progress. It's about transcending that dichotomy altogether and doing something entirely new that's never been done, because only God can do new things. Human beings can only do the same stuff we've done forever, And so I think when it comes to, I guess, the way the internet is going to pave a path for the church has not yet been understood. Sure. And I don't think people can predict it.
I agree.
I don't even think Barron can predict it.
Yeah, I think he's probably less positioned to predict it than we are.
You think so?
I think he understands it less than we do.
That's probably true. I mean, I think the reason why he's been so successful with his internet evangelization is because he's surrounded himself with people who understand the internet better than him.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not a dig. It's just like him personally.
I mean, that's how any CEO is successful. They surround themselves with people that are better than them at the thing that they want to do.
I 100% agree about the idea of returning, because like I don't want to go back to like there is part of me that's like, yeah, we should have beautiful churches. They shouldn't be the same as the old beautiful churches. Like they should be.
We can have new beautiful churches. We can have the Sagrada Familia and the
exactly right. Like there's nothing inherently better about the past just because
that's a church that's both old and new.
Indeed. But I think a lot about Blessed Carlo Acutis. I'm sure he's a great guy. Making websites about the Eucharist does not constitute evangelization on the internet anymore.
It did.
It did at the time, and it's great. And I'm glad he played video games, and I'm glad he like answered questions about Catholicism on the internet. But like, he is a precursor to someone. Cursor. Like, I feel like here's the question that we could ask ourselves that I feel like we don't ask ourselves. Ask me, what's the question, Patrick?
What's the question, Ethan?
I'm glad you asked. Here's the question we can ask ourselves.
Yeah.
And the question is this.
Are you vamping? Do you not know?
I do know exactly what it is.
Okay.
Could we become patron saints of the internet?
You and me.
You and me in a particular way, because we've done something. But like
other people,
there are like there's got to be someone walking on earth right now.
Yeah. That
will so radically, like I'm thinking about St. Francis de Sales when it was the Protestant heresies.
About John Bosco Donahue.
I have a funny story to tell you about him.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You guys will like this too, because it makes Patrick look silly. But
oh no,
it's good.
Okay,
he likes you. But I'm thinking about St. Francis de Sales when it was the Protestant heresy, and he was in France, and it was like split between the Huguenots and the Catholics, and there was violence, and towns were being taken over, and he like reconverted just through sheer force of will, like 80,000 people back to the faith. You know,
right? That's
like
crazy.
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
you know, like going from town to town and preaching against the heresies and like saying like you're really only doing this because of the political power, right? And they were like, no.
Yeah.
And he preached the truth, and they like would come back, and he was very, very powerful in this particular region of France. Like he tens of thousands of people because of him. And so I'm just thinking about like us or someone who's walking the earth right now. Like there is someone out there. It could be Barron. I don't think it is. It could be Father Mike. I don't think it is. Like it's going to be someone who like harnesses the power of the internet in such a way that like people are flooding back to the church or flooding to the church for the first time.
I think Father Mike's a good candidate.
You think so?
He's a man of unassailable character.
I agree. The catechism in a year.
It's not. You don't have to have like all. You don't have to do all homers.
I'm not saying you should do all homers, but like the
Ethan's
Bible.
like the man has a
no.
The man has a 583 batting average. You're like he missed once.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's like, is there evidence that there are people who are converting en masse because of Father Mike? Non-Catholics
for the Bible in a year. Yeah, the Bible in a year. Protestants were listening to the Bible in a year
and converting to Catholicism. How many?
I don't know, but Ascension has like the stats on it.
That's cool. We should look at those up.
Yeah, we gotta find them. We gotta talk to them.
It could be Father Mike.
I do think Ascension is doing really good work.
I agree.
I think they're.
You just need to do more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pushing in the right direction.
Yeah.
But it's.
But my final question is, what if we operated as if that could be us? You know, like what if we attacked the internet
as if we were saints,
as if we were going to be the patron saints of the internet? You know, like that's kind of the ultimate question.
Yeah, and I think the answer to that is sure, yeah, but it would require us to
always the pragmatist. Patrick
it would require us to break through our own like preconceived notions of the way evangelization is supposed to work, right? Story of St. Isaac Jogues and St. Patrick, right? It's like
who?
St. Isaac Jogues
and
St. Patrick. Unfamiliar. You know, they
heard of fake Patrick.
They went back to places where they were persecuted in order to evangelize.
Twitter.
We got to go back.
I got to go back. I got to DM all the women that canceled me.
Like St. Patrick returning to the Emerald Isle where he was enslaved and made to wash their mold-ridden socks.
I'm going to go back to middle-aged single women on Twitter and tell them that I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
For making a tweet that wasn't about you in the first place.
Yeah,
it's whatever.
Bummer. Yeah. So it's. I think that the Crunch Instagram account is doing good.
I think so too.
I think that we could. It's like.
It's slop.
It's not.
It's beautiful slop with a cherry on top.
Slop with the cherry on top.
It's from Dr. Seuss.
We're dads.
Only guys know.
I think there's good in it. I think that there's
bad in it.
I think that we're not doing enough.
Yeah.
I'll say it like this. It requires a person who's willing to break a mold, either a societal mold or an institutional church mold,
Yes.
to do something that has never been done before. It's like this is what the saints do. Joan of Arc breaks.
Yeah.
They break with an unnecessary tradition to uphold a higher one.
Right.
And I think our hope is that we can create good art, because the institutional mold that we're breaking is the tradition of bad art, or the Catholic Church. I think that the tradition that we want to break is the tradition of late that the church is downstream of culture, that the church is told what is right, that you're an American first, or that you're a Westerner first, and then you're a Catholic. I think that's the institutional mold that the church is by and large accepted. Right. The church is pretty much accepted that you can't talk about politics, I think, except for like pro-life stuff, which is obvious. Yeah. I don't even count that, because I was telling you this yesterday. Let's stop saying we're pro-life. We're just normal. We just don't think babies should die.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's not a political position.
You shouldn't use sharp implements to chop up a human being.
Yeah.
And vacuum them out of another human being.
I think that's bad. And we should just be like, this is not a political position. This is just normal.
This is just what human beings do.
And I don't even count that as the church getting political. I think that's just the church upholding what's normal.
Yeah. Or not even politics, but not even just Catholics. But I think about that video of
the church should choose who the president is.
We'll get back to that. Yeah. But like Protestants who have like a Star Wars weekend, like where the whole church is done up like Star Wars. It's like, okay, why don't they make movies about what you are doing?
Yeah.
Why are we making our church about what the movies are?
Why isn't there a Billy Graham movie?
There probably is.
There might be. Yeah. Are you taking a phone call in the middle of this?
Hello?
Hello, this is the National Police and Trooper Association. We're calling everyone to...
No, I thought you were going to ask me what to donate to the policeman's ball, and then you go, I didn't know policemen had balls.
I could have said that, but that was a recording. So I've gotten that same guy before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that same voice. I don't know what list I'm on, but they must think that I'm like an old man, because I get like Medicare calls. I get the policeman's balls call. I think, I don't know who sold my number, but
that's crazy.
It's tough. I must have lied about my age on some website.
No, that's it. Like you instead of putting 1990 like a normal person, you put
I scrolled all the way to the bottom.
1960.
Put 1902.
Yeah,
as my birth age.
And they're like, you are 121. Anyway, John Bosco Donahue. You're making fun of me.
Yeah.
Are you gonna look it up?
This is really funny. Here we go. I'm gonna find it because it's a text thread that we had together.
Oh. We're going to see him this
Okay,
weekend,
so I texted him Friday, September 22nd, 9:19 a.m. I need you to know that every time Patrick mentions you, he calls you John Bosco Donahue. Never John, never truth charting. All three names like you're a MFing Arctic ship captain from 1823. He said, the last sentence made me spit out my water. I said, it drives me insane. Is that what you prefer to be called? He said, nobody calls me John Bosco, LOL. Bosco is my confirmation name, so I put it in my Instagram username, LOL. But I don't hate it. I vibe with being called that.
Yes.
So I just thought you should know that that's not his name.
I know it's not his name.
Okay, I didn't know if you knew that.
I call him next. I think it's cool.
Okay. I just had that interaction with him. I was like, man, Patrick
calls you John Bosco Donahue.
And your name is just not that. Your name is just John.
If he vibes with it, I'll keep calling him that.
Please don't call him that.
I'll call him JBD.
Should I call him right now? Live on the pod?
Yeah.
Is he going to be there this week?
I think so.
Okay, let's. Oh.
We gotta.
I'm getting a call from Austin, Texas. This might be like a work-related call.
Yeah, don't pick it up.
Yeah, I'm not picking that up.
I don't need to call the policeman's ball.
Yeah, I need to call it. Let's call John Donahue real quick. Get him on the pod. And because this is a guy in terms of like trying to do what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is a good dude.
He gets it. This will be a total flop if he doesn't pick it up.
Yeah, it's gonna suck. Ryan, edit this out if it doesn't.
What's funny?
We do a Mr. Beast style thing where we like calling all of our influencer friends. The first one that picks up gets $1,000.
That's funny.
Oof, doesn't get the $1,000.
I know he doesn't get any money. So yeah, I think that would be a good paradigm shift for us.
Yeah,
is that because I think we made a good swing into like how can we make this more viable to do long term because we can't spend time away from our family if there's not like a monetary association with it. Like we
Mhm.
have to increase the Patreon.
Mhm.
We got to do things for the people that support us on Patreon. We got to like sell ads on the show because it's a certain size.
We got to
like,
make children's Bibles.
like EWTN, the organization is like a $60 million a year organization.
Crazy.
Like they
That's
are,
it.
they're the largest, I know, for their size. They're the largest religious television network in the world. And it's like, okay, when Mother Angelica started it, they were doing something that nobody else was doing, paradigm shift, you know? And but they like made it successful. They put the proper implements and
Yeah, and
supports
Mother
around it.
Angelica hated TV.
Right.
We hate social media.
Exactly. So I really think that there's people that have done this before, and we could just take the next step.
Mhm. But social media is different than it was when we started.
100%.
Social media is not network anymore.
No,
It's content.
it's content.
It is consumption.
I know.
It is pure consumption.
Yeah.
It's no longer content. Or it's no longer network. It's not even really
Which is
social.
why we always tell people to join the Discord, because it pulls
Yeah.
people out of the content wheel and puts them into
network.
a network.
Into network.
Yeah.
Into community. We call it social media. It's like it's kind of a relic. It's kind of rear view mirror esque.
Because it's not.
It is not social.
It's just
It's
media.
purely media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's blasting your corneas
Just
24/7
blue light.
with 24K. I do like the reels where they take the Pixar movies and they upscale them. Those are nice.
Those look so funny. It's
I love
all
them.
they're doing is adding extra frames.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's so funny.
I like it.
And someone's like, they did this. So the comment is always like, they put this in 20K or whatever, you know?
It's like, wow.
Ooh.
What number will they pick next?
I know. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, that's our show. Some good thoughts from today.
Speaking of the Discord, you should go to bit.ly/crunch Discord if you want to join our little community. We're past 600 now, which is cool. We're gonna try and go for 1,000 by the end of the year. Might not hit it. That's pretty high.
Pretty aggressive.
That's pretty aggressive. But we're gonna hit 1,000 soon. And once that happens, oh boy,
What happens at 1,000?
we're gonna get money.
Okay.
If everybody in the Discord gave us $1,
$1, we could do this for a few days.
Yeah. My friend Zach got in the Discord. He's like, "Why aren't you monetizing this?" And I was like, "Well, we kind of are because the patron Discord is exclusive."
How would we monetize it?
You can monetize Discord?
How?
I don't know,
All right.
dude. If I knew,
If I know, boy howdy. Anyway, if you really care about this show and you like what we're doing and you want to support the things that we talked about today, you can go to patreon.com/thecrunch. $10 a month will get you a bonus episode.
yeah.
And that bonus
Buy us a cup of
episode is free for the people that give $10 a month and up. There's a great community that listen to the bonus podcast every week, and it's a lot of.
And we always talk about it.
friends.
And we're really active in the patron general.
Yeah.
The patron chat. At this point, we're probably less active in the general chat than ever before.
Yes.
So if you want to talk to us, it's the best place to be. Is the patron.
100%.
Patreon. Some people have upped their Patreon gift to like $50 a month. Someone did that last night.
Night?
Yeah.
Oh.
Checked my email before I went to bed for some reason. I guess I was bored or something. And maybe it popped up, but it was like, yeah, I was in bed at 9:03 and they.
That's awesome. Thank you to who that was. I haven't checked it, but thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Do you have anything else for the people?
Tune in next week when I have officially moved into Ethan's house permanently and wake him up at 4 o'clock by screaming like his lovely young baby.
Thank you all for listening. Please pray for us. We will be praying for you. We'll see you all
Next time.
next time.
Next time.
There you go. I was waiting for you to point. Next time. Goodbye.